Welcome back to our channel. I'm Dior.
And I'm IJ.
I was gonna say I'm IJ. I'm used to you hosting. So we're here tonight to review Married at First Sight, season 14, episode 16. This is the last episode before decision day.
I'm happy it is, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm ready for it to be over. I'm
Me too. I'm
pissed that
tired.
they're putting a bullshit episode in next week because I want decision day to be next week.
I did too, but I think it'll be interesting. It starts at 8 o'clock next week. I think it's going to be interesting because we're going to get to see what other Married at First Sight couples think about this season, right? And a
Yeah.
lot happened this season. But before we begin, make sure you guys like, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and comment below because you know what? We're growing.
We have 500 subscribers. That may not sound like a lot, but it's a lot to us.
Right.
Every single one of you.
Sure do, because you guys comment, you ask questions, and for those that always waiting for our shows, we appreciate and love you.
But I'm sure you just want us to get into the episode.
Yes, let's get into it.
So we started tonight at Mark and Lindsay's. They went through a couple of the episodes. A couple of the couples as they were like preparing for the day. But our first like real scene was Mark and Lindsay. And Lindsay tells Mark that she wants him to take a fertility test.
That was hilarious, was it not? I was shook.
Like, how does she not understand why he has issues with her? Like, that's just so random, first of all. Like, it's super random.
It is. But I thought she did it. Okay, personally, I thought she did it for TV. But part of me thinks that that's something that she would do normally too.
Oh, for sure. I think so, for sure.
But he went along with it.
He went along with it. So I'm super proud of him for that, because I know we've talked in the past about him not really going with the flow and doing the things that she wants to do. So they actually seem to have fun with it.
I think they would have fun with it, right? Like, I was surprised that they let it air on TV, like when they went behind the closed doors and she was talking about, let's get that sperm into the cup and all this other stuff. I was like, oh my God. And then she was describing it. I was like, I don't want to hear about this stuff. Being what did she say? Like glue that's been sitting on the counter for weeks.
Yes.
I was like,
he was dehydrated.
I was like, wow.
Almost dehydrated as well. Or seen. Yeah, dehydrated. But yeah, so they went through it. I didn't realize you could just I don't know what it looked like. You know how when you do the biometrics test where you prick your finger and squeeze a little bit of blood on the paper. Mm-hmm. It looked like that's what they were doing.
It looked like a pregnancy test to me.
It did. And so I was curious as to how that tells them how much sperm he has.
Yeah, I was curious too. I thought to myself, you might want to go to a fertility doctor to get a real results. But Mark was sure proud, wasn't he?
And was she doing a test too, or
I don't know how they would do it for a woman. How do you pee on it? Like what? How does it know if your eggs are still viable and so forth?
Well, I don't know. I know they have tests that you can mail the stuff off, and I thought that's what they were doing with his. But yeah, I don't know.
I know, but they had fun doing it. Mark was so proud that his sperm count was still ready and robust enough to get her pregnant, whether or not.
The fact that he was even entertaining the idea of getting her pregnant, I was like, wait, what happened? I feel like something switched or
Yeah, I think that he wants to be with her, because remember last episode he was talking about his mom and dad's house and she wanted to move in there. So it kind of makes me think that sometimes he thinks about her, but then there are times when she just gets too much for him and he just says no.
Yeah, yeah.
I want them to be together.
I don't know. I don't think it would last very long if they were together. I mean, yeah, I don't think unless he just needed her. Like I think she likes to be needed.
Yes.
And I think that makes it because it's like she's always talking about him being in a crisis. Like she's always talking about how messed up his life is. So I feel like that validates her in some way to
Mm.
feel like she's doing stuff for him.
Sorry, my sorry. I totally agree with you. I think that she crisis is where she shines. When he's in a crisis, she's there. And
Mhm.
she's helping plan things out, lead things out, and helps him feel supported.
It's probably the only time he's acting like he can tolerate her too.
And that's you know, to me, I think that's a shame because you shouldn't only want to be with somebody because they can help you.
I don't think it's that he only wants to be with her for those reasons, but I think when he needs her or when he needs help, he can't focus on like the things he doesn't like about her, because
Oh,
he's trying to focus on his crisis. So,
right.
he doesn't have that hesitancy as much. And
Mhm.
maybe he likes that.
Well, what about his mom's house? So they moved his mom out of the apartment, right, to a long-term care facility.
Okay, is that what happened? Okay, and so the place, so that was an apartment. Okay, maybe okay, it gave me, I don't know if they've said this about her before, it gave me hoarder vibes. Like I felt like Lindsay was suggesting that maybe his mom had some hoarding tendencies.
When
And she had agoraphobia, right? She didn't
yeah,
like leave the house and stuff. And I know
uh-huh,
there are some people with agoraphobia that do have hoarding tendencies. So
right.
it just gave me hoarding because all those trash bags that were in the kitchen.
And the way that everybody was talking about the cupboards and Mark cleaning out the cupboards, when
Mhm.
I heard that, I was just like thinking about you and that Hoarder TV show, Hoarders. I was just like, wow, this could be an episode of Hoarders if they would show us what's going on in that place. But
Yeah.
when he finished, it looked nice, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So he did. I guess we'll just go through all of Mark and Lindsay. So he did take her on the last day. He kind of surprised her and took her to the apartment to have their last date.
Mhm.
And I was super confused. I guess maybe she already knew that he wanted to live there. I guess that's where he was planning to move in after, they get just after decision day. And he wants them to both live there. And I mean, I was surprised that she was open to that because she did kind of seem turned off about living in
The house,
the grandparents' house or whatever house.
his mom and dad's house.
Okay,
Mhm. So
somebody else lives there now, or I'm confused.
I don't know who lives there now, but he was talking about it would be interesting to move in there.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
then she didn't want to live in his past and wants to make a presence of their own. Do you
And
think
who wants to? I mean, like you always, if you're getting married to someone or if you're building something with someone, you should make it your own, even if you're having to move in one another's space.
right?
Like, I mean, that would be a red flag to me if someone's not willing to make the place that you're moving into yours.
But
It
should you
did
be
not
able to
seem
keep some objects that mean a lot to you? Should you be able to keep some
yeah,
objects?
but I don't think the things that she was saying, like she said, painting, changing the linoleum, like flooring, adding some of her own personal touches. She
Mhm.
probably want to put some plants in there.
Sure, she does her foliage. But he said that he wanted to keep the dresser, and she's like, no, mm-mm, no. And I think that where he messed up is when he started talking about his mother and his grandmother lived here and having Lindsay there will continue the love or whatever. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, and he had also like kind of turned his nose up to her changing things. So of course when he says he wants to keep his dresser, I mean she's a little taken aback that he said that no, you can't do all these things to my house. You can paint. That's all you can do.
Right, right,
I think she would have been more open if he had had a different response to her ideas.
right. I agree with you too. It was interesting.
Was there anything else about them?
Her playing flag football or whatever. Remember
Yeah.
when they all
Oh,
went together as a
he
group?
hurt himself.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then I don't know if they're gonna stay together. I truly don't know. I think Lindsay wants to stay with him, but I don't think that he's ready for that type of commitment with her.
Yeah. I don't know, but I don't think it's a good idea. Okay, so the next person we had in the beginning was Noi. So Noi was talking to one of her friends.
So annoying.
I really didn't like because okay, so we see Noi talk to her friend. A little later, we see Steve talk to his friend, and he's like picking out a ring for her.
That was staged.
It's huh?
I thought that was staged.
What was staged?
That whole ring thing.
What do you mean by
It
staged?
looked like it was a commercial because it showed the company
It
that the ring
did.
was from. They
It,
talked about the rings and the different
well,
ones
he is
and
a
all that.
sales engineer. I don't know if that
Girl,
means, but maybe he was making a
he-
little bank off of
yeah,
it.
or getting a free wedding ring. That's what I thought was going on. I was like,
I mean, it may
okay.
have been,
Mhm.
but anyway, he was planning to get her a new ring. She's over here ragging about him on, to her friend. She did say she kind of felt a little better about his job situation. And she said that she felt like he was a person that could just focus on one thing at a time. So right now he's trying to focus on his marriage. So it seemed like maybe she had taken, like, thought about his stance a little more. But
Mhm.
then she's just, kind of, her and her friend are just kind of bashing him. And I didn't like that.
I didn't like that neither because you should never bash your spouse like that, especially to another person. You
Unless you
know,
don't want to stay married to them.
right. But we have to also think about where she's coming from. We're looking at Steve as this angel. We've also got to look at her as to what she's endured, what has
Because you
occurred.
keep, no, you keep bringing that up. If
What isn't her trauma just as important?
she's an
Is
adult,
it?
she's not, I honestly don't think it's coming as much from a trauma past, especially since she was willing to not work to stay at home with 3 kids. So if it's really about everybody working, you know what I'm saying? Why
Hmm.
not you work and he stay at home with the 3 kids? Like, if you're okay now with only one person working, it's not about the trauma. It's not about the trauma. It's about her wanting what she wants and not being willing to be like willing to have her opinion of things changed. She has not once tried to listen to him to learn about. She didn't even know what he did in a job. If you told me you didn't work, you don't have a job, and that you could get a job at any moment and you have all this money saved, I'm gonna want to know, well, what were you doing as a sales engineer?
Oh, you're a detective too, though.
I mean, for me, I think especially if you don't know the person, it's important to ask questions to get to know the person. Every aspect of them. You're living in a house with a complete stranger. And if you have a concern about his ability to make money, you need to learn more about that.
Well, I don't know if it's because he never told her or she never asked,
No,
but
he never asked. And when he tried to tell her, she didn't listen. And he said that in past episodes, and he said it tonight in tonight's episode. And I believe him because I like Steve.
well, they well, they have multiple issues because she also doesn't want to live with him. She
And
wants to
that's
have her own
okay.
place.
You know what? I was going to say that's crazy, but I was going to say it was crazy. But then I want to say it's crazy because I don't like her.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was thinking about it tonight, I can kind of understand her perspective, if this is her perspective, that she wants to be able to live separately a little bit. Because I think moving in, even if you know the spouse and you move in with the spouse, it does kind of feel a little suffocating a little bit in the beginning as you're adjusting to your dynamic together. Now, you don't even know this person and you're living with them to get to know them, to decide if you're going to stay married. And then from there on, you have to live with them for the rest of your life, And so I can understand maybe separating a little bit, learning more about each other separately and making that decision, like kind of a second decision, and a more intentional decision to live with them. But it sounds like she don't have a plan to do that. So I can understand it. I still think it's stupid. And I think it's stupid for you to think that he would be okay with that when you're not okay with anything that he wants to do.
I think it's stupid because you're married. Married people most married people don't live separately. That's when trouble starts. You live in your own separate life. So one minute you're married, on Monday, Tuesday,
most people don't get married without knowing each other either. So right. I think it's just like, I can understand it because of the situation under which they got married. Any other way, I would be like, no, that doesn't.
And work. It just leads to, sometimes I'm thinking it leads to trouble. Because when you're living on your own and you're not in the house with them, then that means that you can be going out with your friends and doing all this sorts of things. And then you don't know what he's doing. And then what happens when you have kids? So you're thinking by the time they decide to have kids, they're going to be living permanently together.
They should. I mean, I feel like it shouldn't, if they go about it the way that I'm thinking, like it's something that I think they should come to the decision very quickly, but just kind of like that breathing space a little bit, because this is a very intense process. And, let's just kind of not take a step back, but just like, maybe make this a more intentional decision to live together and, be married or whatever.
Okay. Well, it'll be interesting to see in the end. It seems like he really loves her and he wants to stay with her. And it seems like she's the one that's just wishy-washy, doesn't really know what she wants to do, wants to live on her own, wants him to work.
Wants 3 kids and wants to stay at home mom. I think the other thing that kind of made me think about that a little differently was something that Mark said about him being able to make a decision about Lindsay. He was like, I mean, like, we're basically always on top of each other. I don't know what it's like to miss her. So imagine like you don't know this person, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, as soon as you met them, you've been with them every single day.
Right.
You have to make this decision to stay with them, and then you have to stay with them.
Right.
So I kind of understand, almost like if they could have approached it like the ultimatum, where they live together for 8 weeks and then maybe take 2 weeks off. That gives them time to process, see if they really miss the person. That's what Mark said. He wanted to know if he would miss her if she wasn't around.
That would be interesting.
So I get it, but I don't think that's the way she's intending it.
Next season, please do that. Married at First Sight. Give us something new and interesting to watch. Yes.
So Steve, will go to Steve and his meeting with his friend. So he was doing his advertisement for picking out a ring for Noi. Yes. But we haven't seen anyone do that on any other past seasons. And I mean, he was picking out a nice ring. He was like, he wanted the best.
He was intentional on what he was looking for.
Yes, ideal cut, 1.5 carat. I think the setting was 1.18 carat total weight. So he wanted a near clear, was it flawless, like a near flawless diamond. I don't think she deserves that right now. And I mean, he's making these decisions without, like, I mean, of course, maybe he is getting a free ring, but if not, like, he's making this decision, without hesitation. So he must have, a good.
I believe he has a good chunk of money. Yeah. Savings. Right.
But yeah, I don't think she deserves it. So hold off, Steve.
Right before you go purchase it.
So we see Elijah. He meets with his old coach.
Right.
We learn a little bit more about Katina's educational situation, because I know I had some questions about like her getting her degree and then going
So
to nursing
yeah,
school.
she's going for an associate's degree, then a bachelor's degree, instead of just going for your bachelor's degree.
Right. She's doing her associates in business, I guess. But if she has 2 more years for her associates, that
She just
means she just
started.
started it.
That's what she just started. So in
Well,
essence,
she's doing it
she
part
has,
time, and then maybe it's taking double the time because she's doing it part time.
in essence, it's going to take her like 5 to 6 years to get her RN BSN
Mm.
at that rate and going through that kind of stuff. Yeah. When you can just go and get it in 4 years. But maybe she doesn't have that type of income where she can, but you know, that's why you have a spouse to support you and your dreams. You
Which
know,
is crazy because so later when he's talking to Lindsay,
mhm.
when they met outside and they were talking about their relationships, he basically is saying like, I don't want to do anything to support her. He like,
He said he wants to do what he wants to do when he wants to do it. When he wants to get up and travel, he doesn't want to worry about her and her schoolwork.
but
He's
the
ready
thing
for
is,
somebody that's at his level where he's at.
but IJ, like, first of all, if you and your spouse have careers, your timing may not always line up
Girl, who you
where you
telling?
can go on a trip at the same time. You have to compromise. So even if she wasn't in school, it could still be a situation with having to compromise a little bit.
He's
Like you
thinking
have to
about
be
those school fees. He's thinking about those school fees. He's thinking about the school fees, her time with studying, her having kids, who's going to take care of them kids, who's going to cook and clean. That's what he's thinking
your
about.
other half. That's what you have. That's, I mean,
I
you're in
mean,
a
it was,
partnership.
yeah, when my husband and I had finished college and my husband was still in college and I supported us while he was finishing school,
Mhm.
had my RN, BSN, and I was working full time and supporting him while he was finishing school. That's what you do so that in the end, you do it for the fam. But if you notice, Elijah one always talks about I and me all
Always.
the time, never we.
Yeah, it's like he doesn't understand what a marriage is because that really shook me when he was saying that, like, oh, I'm not going to be waiting for her to do this and I'm not going to help her do this. And I'm just like, what? This is your wife.
But
That's
doesn't
what
she,
you're literally supposed to do is support.
right? Doesn't she remind you of an abused person?
Katina.
Yeah, like
Well, she has said she's had abusive relationships before.
she hangs on to his every word. You know, he talks to her like she's a child, sternly shows his displeasure, even aggressively and just demeaningly. Even this episode, I could barely, first of all, Elijah, you don't even know how to cut steak and eat it. You don't stuff the whole damn thing in your mouth, okay? And you don't go like this to eat it. That's how he was eating. So you don't have any class. But nonetheless, the way he was talking to her at dinner was just such a turnoff for me. You're not going to talk to me that way and think that it's okay. And she
Yeah.
just sits there. And I just find that so sad.
Mm-hmm.
She
Mm-hmm. And
can't
then when
think,
she was in her confessional, she started crying, like she started like patting her hair, and um started crying again at the thought of them,
not, not being together.
yeah.
So, what about him does she love so much? Is it that he provides her stability and direction and that he's a stern father figure or something? Because if you listen to the way he was talking to her at dinner, he was grilling her. So tell me why. Why do you like me? Why do you have strong feelings for me? Why is marriage so important to you?
Yeah.
And it was just really sad. And when he was talking to Lindsay about their relationship, it was all about me, and not once did he say what's good for her.
Well, he did say, he thought that she should do what's best for her. He told her that before they, you know, separated, that she could
Like a threat?
do what's best for her because he was going to do what's best for
Yeah,
him.
I felt like that was a threat. You better think about yourself because I'm going to be thinking about me.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't live like that.
It's hard to really, I don't know, get a, not necessarily get a feel for him, but there's just something off about him. And I
Yes.
don't know if it's that he's hiding something. I mean, of course, we can kind of see a glimpse of him being controlling a little bit, him being belittling, but I'm just wondering, like, how much is he really hiding? Like,
What is it? What happens when the TVs are not, when the cameras are not there?
mhm.
How is he? Because if you look at if you look at her from the beginning when we first met them, she's lost weight.
She's like a completely different person. I'm like, I hope
Yeah.
she get on this one day they had to themselves, girl, go get your hair redone. Like, looking glamorous and fly on decision day because you just look all the way run down.
She looks all it's like, and he doesn't say anything about her looking run down. It's just like he wants her to look run down,
Mm-hmm.
like an abusive person. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, he was even talking about he was talking about um I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, they're just run, girl, run,
Yeah.
run.
Let's go on to Jasmina and
Mhm.
Michael.
Okay, go ahead. Jasmina's something else.
Yeah, like I really want them to work out. I have zero hope for them though, because she's just, I mean, I get she wants to be like attracted to him. She wants to have those like probably sexual attraction feelings for him, and they're not there. I just really wanted to jump into Michael's body and like move for him, make some decisions because I feel like he has so many opportunities. And maybe that's what it is that maybe she doesn't see it because it's not like he's not making an effort. And I
I
know
totally agree.
why he's
Totally
not
agree.
making an effort. I mean, she has been kind of like,
Outstandish.
yeah. And if she's clearly communicating that she's not ready, she doesn't feel anything, I think it would be a little hard to make a move. But I mean, like, yeah, I mean, when
Just
you're
go
salsa
for it.
dancing and you're like touching her body, like that's the perfect time to
Time to
like,
kiss her.
yeah, bring her closer. Even if you don't kiss her, like just like put your like nose in her neck or something, like just touch her skin, you know, like to make her
So
feel something.
I'm like this. Yeah, I totally agree with you 110%.
It's just like, Michael, we gotta do better. I mean, like he tried, he planned that date, but he just didn't take it to the next level.
No, he can keep planning all he wants. Can you do some touching? That, you know what? When we got done salsa dancing and so forth, we would have gotten some drinks, gone back to the house and relaxed, play some music. Let's do a little bit
Yeah,
more salsa dancing, honey.
yeah.
Because I want to do some of the
And I
moves
think, you
again.
know what, that's what I wrote down in my notes. Like, I think that's kind of where they mess up. Every time they do have like a more of a like kind of intimate moment where they're like, you know, loosening up and enjoying like just touching each other, they start talking about the past. And it's just like, and what mistakes they made in the past. And like, you know, like it's good that he's acknowledging where things went wrong. And he's, you know, saying that he wished things had happened differently. But it just kind of, I think it's like a reminder, like a red flashing light saying like, yeah, remember we weren't attracted to each other. We kind of hated each other.
Totally agree with
And
you.
I think
Totally
that just
agree.
kind of it destroys the whole mood. So he just needs to like not talk about it and just like, you know, pick
Right.
up on those like
Good
intimate
vibes.
moments.
I
Yeah.
can tell her. I want to tell her. Remember, what's that couple's name, Dior?
Which one?
The couple's name where the couple that didn't kiss or do anything, but they're still together. They have their own YouTube channel now.
Oh, Karen and Miles.
Yes, yes. So if Karen and Miles, look, they're together and everything. and they didn't kiss and so forth. So it is possible to fall in love and have those feelings, right?
I think on that last night they should have just been let's kiss, let's do something just to see if like my heart flutters or if I get butterflies in my stomach or something like that. Like
I don't think they would.
let's just see. They should have done something.
I don't think they would. I have a feeling that okay, I'll give my predictions in the end.
We talked about, did we go through all the couples?
We went through all the couples, yeah.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, it's because our time is almost up anyways.
Yeah, I just I know I wasn't on last week, so I didn't get to do my predictions, but I just honestly, maybe Steve and Noi is the only couple I see. I think Katina will say she wants to stay with Elijah Wine. I'm just not really sure where he's gonna go, but maybe he's just
Did
really
you hear
playing
what
that
he
part,
said?
trying to
Did you
throw
hear
us
what he
off.
said on the preview?
What?
That he saw himself, they were sitting on the couch and he goes, I saw myself with somebody who's more sophisticated, who's at my level. I was
Yeah.
just like, oh my God.
Yeah, cause see, I get those last little marks in before he says he chooses her. Like he may say that he chooses her, but he just
He
gotta
could
like,
say he chooses her because it looked like he was about to cry when she was leaving too.
yeah.
That man loves her, but is always trying to put up this hard front.
Maybe he wants her to feel like like she like won something or like grateful that he chose her, so like
He's trained
point
her.
out where her faults are, to say like, oh, despite all of these things I still chose you, which is like not a way to make someone feel.
No, he's trained her to see him as her savior, her way, him as her way to happiness and marriage. When in reality, Katina, you're beautiful. You can get anybody. You don't have to settle for him, who's like a mind control freak, narcissistic, and something is wrong with him.
Yeah,
something is wrong with him. Double your meds, do something.
Yeah, but I'm excited to see what the predictions are. I'm very excited for the reunion. That's what I'm like. I feel like it's where all the juicy stuff comes out. So yeah, I'm really excited for the reunion, but we have to wait 2 weeks until decision day.
And they're going to drag it out. They are.
I mean, well, it's going to be 2 hours. It's going to be a 2-hour episode for them to decide. But yeah, let us know, what you thought about tonight's episode. I know some of you guys guessed in the comments whether like who you predicted would stay together and break up. Has it changed based on tonight's episode? And how are you feeling about the couples? Are you ready for the season to be over?
Right. And you know what? I think at the reunion, we'll get to see Alyssa and whatever his name is.
Oh, Chris,
and see where they're at in their life.
Oh my God.
I think that'll be interesting.
Nobody wants to see her. But until next time,
make sure that you like, comment below, because we want to hear your comments. Turn on your post notifications and you subscribe.
bye.
Bye, everyone.